Now remember, depending on how we fix these, they're going to look slightly different. So this is a great example where you can actually see very nicely the two secretory portions, very, very thin section through this tissue, so it's quite pale staining. But then we get something like this. All right? So if I put a circle around this and said, name this structure, where's my next person along here? Again, it's a simple coiled tubular gland, but you can see how, because of the fixation method, and this is cut slightly thicker sections, you can see it looks quite different. Okay? But again, you can see the paler staining regions that are going to be your secretory portions, and then beautifully biostratified cuboidal epithelium here. So these are all your little ductal regions. All right.
So the paler stain, you said, is a secretory portion?
The paler staining portion is the secretory portion.
And the darker portion would be the duct?
And the darker portion is the duct.
Is that always?
That's, I never say always. But yeah, a good rule of thumb is that the darker staining portion is the duct, because remember that the secretory portion again is going to be a single, fairly large cell with secretory product in it, whereas the duct tend to be the same diameter of tube, but now you've got two layers of cells. So the cytoplasm is going to be more dense. They've got two nuclei associated with it instead of a single nucleus associated with it. The nuclei are probably going to be more heterochromatic because the duct isn't doing things like making proteins, whereas the secretory portion is, so the nuclei are going to be darker staining as well. So all of those things contribute to the darker characteristic of the duct. And then we go up and we look at this structure, and we can see that it's branched. In this case, although we haven't done skin yet, we're telling you that this is a hair follicle running all the way up to the surface here. And these branched structures belong to what kind of duct? Where's my next one? Sebaceous. It's a sebaceous gland, and if we're talking strictly in terms of ductal structure, it belongs to a simple branched gland will be sufficient. All right. I know we have alveolar in the text, but I have said to you, just take alveolar out. I very seldom see that term used anymore. All right. So this is fairly low magnification. We're at 10 times magnification. We're filling up the whole section here. If I said to you, name this structure. Where's my next victim? The whole thing. There's no pointers, no whatever. Just name this whole structure. What would you call it? A bunch of cells, ha ha. All right, this is a compound multicellular gland. All right, compound because it's not a little discrete structure. It's not nice straight lines. There's lots of it. All right. In this particular case, these cells are what kind of secretory cells? What are they secreting mostly? Mucus. All right. So name this gland. Mucus gland. Compound multicellular mucus gland, if you wanted to. right? Any of those would be correct.
The original one we just said.
Now, how do you know it's mucus? Is because these are very, very pale staining cells, and with these very compound glands like this, you're generally going to see if they're pale staining, they're going to be mucus secreting. Yes.
What are the darker edge cells on the edges of them?
Right. Very good question. So now we've got darker cells on the edges of them. We go up to higher power. All right. What do we think those darkest? Now, first of all, before we talk about the darker cells, where are the nuclei of these cells? All the way on the bottom here. All right. So the nuclei are all the way on the bottom anyway, and then right underneath those we've got these flattened cells. Wouldn't ask you in an exam, but what do you think these flattened cells would be? Myoepithelial cells. All right, so these are going to be your cells that are actually going to be able to contract so that they can squeeze the mucus product out of the secretory acinus into the ducts so that it can be expelled to the exterior. And if I put a circle around this structure here and said name the structure, where's my next person? What is this structure? Acinus, correct? Or if I have multiple acini. Right, secretory acinus. If you wanted to write all the way out because you don't remember acinus, the secretory portion of the gland.
Did we say secretory unit?
Secretory unit is correct. Okay. And if I put an A over here, and then I put a B over here, and I said the B is sitting in what portion of the gland?
Stroma.
Stroma. Okay. And A?
Parenchyma.
Parenchyma.
Yeah. And you have Lincoln on it. Oh, yeah. I got a spot, I guess.
Yes, question.
How can you differentiate between the mucus gland and the acini? Like how do you
So if I asked you name this gland, I would be looking for mucus gland. Okay. Name this structure and then no pointers anywhere. All right. So I'm asking you for everything that's on that surface. If you wanted to say to me multiple secretory units of a mucus gland, you could say that. All right. But only one of those structures is a secretory acinus. All right. In that particular section, there are multiple acini, but those multiple acini belong to a mucus gland. All right. So if I ask you for a single, what is the single structure? By putting a circle around it, I'm looking for a secretory unit or a secretory acinus. If I don't put any pointers on it and ask you for the structure, I'm asking for what is that whole structure, and the whole structure is a multicellular gland, right? Compound multicellular gland. Now, we get to a region like this, and I said, again, no pointers on here, name this structure. Or all of these structures belong to what? A mixed gland, okay? What else can we call it?
Is it also
Seromucus. Why can we call it seromucus? What are these cells secreting here? These pale staining cells? These are mucus. These cells in this acinus, all of these cells are serous secretory. And no, sebaceous does not spell serous.
Victoria.